I'm getting there. Start our.
So we have several, I believe we start.
Yeah.
So we have several different gears that we use. And he's fixing to be pulled up, but each gear is specifically targeting a certain species of fish. So the first one that's going to be up there is the electrofishing. In any of these gears that we use, we weigh and measure the fish, and we document how long that gear was fished for. And this is going to give us an idea of pitch per unit effort, which I'm going to talk about later. Relative weights. There's several different indexes we use to give us an indication of the condition of that population. So here we got electrofishing. I'm going to go through these individually. Lead nets, hook nets, seine nets, and units. Each of these different gears is specifically targeted for a certain species of fish. So electrofishing, as you can see here, if you can see that picture, there's two guys in front of that boat, and one has a prod pole. If you see the guy on the back and on the part of the bow is the guy with the prod pole, and the guy with the dip net is what we do is we got a driver in the boat, and it's a generator in there. So we shock when we shock these fish. You probably see it. And we're targeting bass mainly for this, using this gear. But when we shock the fish, the guy with the dip net dips it up, and we put it in a holding tank. And the gear that we use, the machine we use, it monitors how many minutes we're on this pedal. So that gives us how much time we're fishing for. And each station, we use 4 stations if it's under less than 2,000 acre lake. Each station we shot for 15 minutes. So 4 stations would equal 1 hour. Now that'll make sense. And what we use, we shot for spring and fall. And this is the data analysis. This is the stuff that gives us an idea of what we get. So say if you catch 50 fish in 4 stations, you're catching 50 fish per hour. So, and we also, it gives us our leak frequencies. If PSDs and RSDs, I'm going to explain later, that gives an indication of the leak frequencies. And age and growth, sometimes we will, in the spring, most of the time, we'll keep a certain amount of fish, and we pull what they call the olif it's an ear bone. And that's how we age that fish. We try to get about 10 per inch group. 7 to 8 would be an inch group, 8 to 9. That's gives us an indication of how fast that fish is growing. And I guess go ahead and go to the next. I'm gonna go through all this data individually and explain what all these mean. So, all right, we also do forage with our electrofishing. Forage is we do the same thing, except we only do it for 1 station. We collect everything. That gives us an indication of our species composition in the lake. It also gives us an indication of how much forage is in that lake. Right, you can look at here.
So when you shock them, they float to the top.
Yeah, everything floats to the top. It don't matter if it's a catfish, it'll shock a snake, bird. But we mainly targeting bass. But when we're forage fishing, we're collecting everything.
So is the little fish, the bait fish, does it survive?
Yeah, it'll stun them, and if you don't dip them up pretty quick, they'll swim off.
So you count the bait fish at the same time as far
No,
as
this is a totally different station.
okay.
Yeah, but when we're doing just the main stations, we're just targeting bass and crappie. We'll leave everything else alone. They would just let them swim off. They're predetermined. We try to be consistent as possible because we're going to use this later as an indication of if the population is increasing, decreasing, and such as that. So we want to be as consistent as possible, or we don't want to go to the best spots at the time or kind of skew the results.
So how big is stationary.
A station just depends because it don't run until you push that pedal.
Right.
So he's looking for good structure. So it depends, if the water's high, we might have to find, it might be tougher to find it. And then that's why I'm gonna show you later, when you're reading these graphs, you gotta be kind of careful about how you're looking at these graphs. I'm kind of show you how we do it, And, wait, did you miss one?
Did
I think it was a lead net before. Yeah. Lead nets, if y'all don't know what a lead net is, it's two hook nets, like a regular hook net, and it's got a lead in between. They're actually illegal to use unless for individual people. But what we use to target, that's crappie is what we target for this. Crappie and lapomas are sunfish. And so what we do there is the same thing as certain stations. We set two nets per station. We'll leave it out for 48 hours. So so you can't really compare shocking electrofishing to lead nets because it's two different time things. So and we usually do this in the fall. We also will pull odorless sometimes on crappie. That's the only two species we usually mainly pull odorless on and get Asian growth. You can go ahead and do that. And hook nets is mainly commercial fishing, which we do those in rivers. We don't do it in the lakes. We gotta have some kind of current to keep those hook nets. If we don't bait them, that just gives us a species composition of what's in the lake, a river. So if we have like a oil spill or some type of stuff like that, they'll have an indication of how much to fine them if it was, some kind of legal matter. But typically, y'all ain't gonna be worried about river fishing.
So hook net, I know it's target, you say the target catch it, catch anything goes down there.
We're catching catfish, carp, buffalo, any of that type of stuff. Any commercial.
How many turtles you catch?
They get in there, but not a whole lot of turtle. Flatheads. And the river is, it's how we're getting the species composition. We really can't manage the river as far as cooking. But I forgot to mention that in these electrofishing on largemouth bass, we stop Florida largemouth bass in these lakes. And we used to collect livers and we'd send them off to Baton Rouge. And they could tell you if that was a Florida bass or a hybrid, or if it was just a northern bass. And it gives us an indication of how much percentage of that Florida gene is in that system. But now we're doing fin flips. It's supposed to be more accurate. This is like the first year we're doing this. All right, we do seines. Seines gives us an indication of reproduction of the bass and crappie. When we catch these we just count them. Little bass, little crappie, gives us an indication how much of reproduction we get. Also forage. Also, it gives us maybe an indication of some endangered species that we didn't know. Or like that. All right.
Do we have any endangered fish species out there?
A lot of them are in these creeks and stuff. We don't know. There's a whole different part of the wildlife and fisheries that targets endangered species, like pearl shell mussels and that type of stuff. We're mainly doing sport fishing. So we also use gill nets. Gill nets are just a net, and when the fish swims in there, it gets tangled up into the net. We mainly use this for y'all ever hybrid striped bass that we stock in there. We use that to monitor them. And obviously the bigger bass, sometimes electrofishing don't get those really big bass. so we can get them in the units. And that's the main two species that we're targeting. We're trying to obviously get commercial species too. Sometimes they will, and sometimes it depends on how hard they are to get out. Oh, we put them out one day and pick them up the next. We don't want to waste big fish.
There we go.
But if you notice all that data analysis you got down there is, I'm gonna go through that and that's gonna be the main reason I'm going through all this. Hopefully this makes sense. All right, our data analysis. That CPUE, catch per unit effort, that gives us an idea of the change in population density. So catch per unit effort is, say, like I was talking about the electrofishing, we shot for 1 hour and caught 50 fish. That would be 50 fish per hour. The unit effort is the time. So if you put out a lead net for 48 hours and you caught 48 fish, that would be 1 fish per hour. That's pretty obvious. All right, and PSD is, they call it proportional stock density. It measures, it gives you an indication of size structure. So we break down fish into different length groups. They call it stock, quality, memorable, and trophy. And what PSD does is gives you, if it's a percentage. Like if you had a 60 PSD, that would be saying that 60% of all your stock fish are big, are quality and bigger. And RSD is even bigger than that. All of your stock fish preferred and bigger. So typically the PSD you want about a 40 to 60%.
Are those length measurements you're doing that or weight?
Length, that's all length.
So how long does it take for, let's say, to go from single to a quality?
Well, it depends on what lake you're in. It's a lot of variables. If it's got a lot of Florida genes in it, or but typically about, so get to a 10-inch fish, probably 2 years, or a year to 2 years. And the relative weight is, what that is it's an index that, say if you had 2 6-inch fish, one weighed 4, or I'm just gonna make it up another 4 pounds, one weighed 6 pounds. The one that weighed 6 pounds has a higher relative weight than the 4 pound. So it gives you an indication of the condition. We use this as an indication of the condition of the fish. We only use relative weights in the fall because in the spring it would skew your results because they got food. So one of them, I think that's all of that.
I got a question before you move on there. When you're doing it on this, what time of the year are you doing it? So it's not when they're bedding or when they're spawning, so you don't have different weight, doesn't mess up the whole weight thing?
So electric fishing, you remember we did it in the spring and the fall. We only do relative weights in the fall.
Okay.
So I got some graphs and I'm gonna show you.
Yeah, next slide is a chart.
So this is spring electric fishing, and it's catch per unit effort. So each year that we did it is showing on the bottom, and on the y-axis, on this up and down line is how many fish per hour. So if you look how it's broken down in colors, and if you look at the bottom, it says substock is less than 8 inches, stock is 8 to 12 inches. That's what those color codes are. That's the size of the fish. So when you're looking at this graph, you can't really look at an individual year and get anything out of it. What you're looking for is trends. So if you see 1998 to 2009, there was an upward trend in that population. So it's an increase in the population density of that lake. And from 2009 to 2019 is a decrease. And as you see a lot of these graphs, that's what you're gonna see is a cycle. It's gonna go up and down, but how many years it takes, it depends on the lake, and it depends on water fluctuations. It's a whole lot of different drawdowns. It's a whole lot of different stuff to look at. So
So y'all try to figure out what causes that
if
last 3 year drop.
say our relative weight started dropping, we would go back and look and see, is that population getting really big? Like if it's too many fish for the lake to support, which Larto Saline has been like that. I don't know if y'all fish Larto Saline, but the crappie, it had a humongous reproduction in 2019 after that high water. And what we've been seeing is a really high number of fish, but they're all small. So they're not growing out.
Still burning.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. So we'll need to go to the next one. All right, like I was telling you about the PSD and RSD, this is the, so typically you want it to be between 40 and 60 with the PSD. So when you start seeing those low numbers, you kind of, as long as, and 1 year, you probably don't want to worry about it, but if it started staying low for a long period of time, it means you're not, those big fish aren't there. So something's a problem. But if you have too high of one, you might not be getting reproduction. So it gives you an indication that you might start looking at some problems with the lake.
In order to help whether that lake's gonna end up getting, I guess, stocking more fish. Does this help y'all tell whether you're gonna put more bass in certain lakes or?
You don't really stock. We don't stock for that purpose.
Okay.
The only reason we stock is to get that fluorescein in there. Because we can't compete with natural reproduction.
Right.
If for some reason, like the vegetation left the lake, that might be an issue. So you probably try to stimulate some vegetation. You gotta more of the habitat changes than stocking fish. Most people want you to just stock a bunch of fish, and it really don't help. I mean, probably lays 10,000 eggs. I mean, one fish, and we can't compete with putting that in the crop. So you want to change the habitat or figure out what water quality, what's going on with the habitat. It's usually going to be a habitat issue.
So does habitat mean you have the wrong fish in there, whether it's eating all the grass as opposed to,
Yeah, I mean, like caney, if they put those grass carps in there and it pretty much wiped out the hydrilla, I mean, it creates a big issue. I don't know if you're familiar with Caney Lake. But yeah, and then they started trying to get rid of the carp, and they trying to, I think it's coming back. But yeah, but that stuff like that is what would affect this kind of, that makes sense. Right? And this is the relative weights. I don't know even what lake this is, but typically you want between 80 above 100, the higher the better. As long as it's not below 80, you're probably doing pretty good. That's going to give you an indication of forage and if the health of the fish, water quality might be off if it starts growing down. I can't feed properly or whatever. But all of this is works together. You can't just look at one and be bad. You got to start looking at what's happening in the system.
What are things that change the water quality? Would
Like,
make it go down?
like forest runoff, and then it makes clear cut, and maybe some runoff. But like
More environmental things around the lake.
the rotomaker,
Mhm.
they used to have all that hydrilla in there, and they put the grass carp in there, and it's circulating constantly. So it's always muddy now. So it's impacting the fish population. Usually, high water in the right time is good. It's not really being stopped. What it is it's backing up in those woods. And it's letting those fish have more area to spawn. Now, if you had a big flood and it fell out real fast, that would hurt your fish because they'd be in there trying to nest and the water falling out there in their nets. And you're gonna have a issue. I mean, it's all about timing and how long it stays. So flooding can be good, it can be bad. Like Black River Lake is connected to the structure that, like Cocoa Drive, which is drains the whole from 40 Parish. So it comes up real a lot, but it goes down fast. Yeah, some places. Yeah. So that's really not good. But so there's a lot of factors you got to consider. Say one thing is that's good to fish. And also drawdowns are good. Most people don't like drawdowns, but it dries that bank out, concentrates your bait fish in the wintertime, and plus it reduces your vegetation. No, usually if you're gonna do a drawdown, a normal drawdown for fisheries is usually like Labor Day, and you want to keep it down to like January. You want to get that water back up before it starts. So during that wintertime, you're drying that bank out. So these nesting fish have a better substrate for nesting. So go to the next.
That's it.
Okay, so what I'm gonna do now, I'm gonna show y'all, we got what we call management plan. I don't know if I'm talking to you or not.
No, that's good stuff.
Okay, management plans for almost every major lake in the state we have. And if you go to our website, I'm gonna show you how to get to it.
Hang on.
All right, how you get to this, it's kind of hard to do. So if you go to our website and you see that search button, if you type in lake management plans, those are gonna pop up. That's not in my district, so I don't know, but if you scroll down, it's all. Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure about that. It's not but what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna go to Coattail Lake. And each lake has a part A and a part B. And part A is just going to give you a history of the lake. So what it does, let's go ahead and scroll down or open it up. Can y'all see that good? It's not updated every year, so, but this will give you, just keep on going down. And usually they're all set up pretty much the same way. And it's going to give you a history of when the reservoirs formed, who owns them, who's in charge of them founding, the size, the watershed, pool stage, and what parish it's in. And a description of the spillway, you can keep on going down. And all that, I don't know if y'all are interested in that kind of stuff, but y'all can always come back and look at it. And it gives you access points like where the boat ramps are. Figures if there's artificial structures that were in there, it'll give you GPS coordinates to the structures. If you go on down, it's going to give you a description of the lake, maximum depths, and it also is going to give you aquatic vegetation stuff. So every year, every lake that we do this on, we do a vegetation assessment. So in the summertime, we go around the whole lake and record what vegetation is growing in the lake. So as you know, some vegetation is good and some is bad. So, but if you was going to a new lake or something and you read through this, you'd have an idea what kind of vegetation to target is for your fishing. Like a hydrilla, if you're bass fishing, you want to target hydrilla. So keep on going down. And it also gives us, if we sprayed anything on that lake, what years we did it and how much was sprayed. So it's going to give you an indication what kind of vegetation you got in the lake. So going down, it's got special regulations, but something here is this chart here on down. It's going to show you the last the most recent drawdowns we've had and how many drawdowns it's had through its life. So I can tell you, if you're going fishing and you see that a lake had been drawn down a couple of years before, it's usually gonna be good. It's gonna be better fishing. And you can also, just go on down, it's also gonna give you type maps. This shows all of our sampling that was done on Coattail Lake from the beginning of when we started sampling. So if you see that we've done some kind of sampling that you're interested in, you can call us and we can kind of give you an idea of what we're catching. And this shows you how many Florida bass we stocked, how many channel catfish, triple grass carp, such as that. And here, if you see the genetics, say this the 2006, 2008, 2 years that we pulled odorless, and as you can see, it's 14% Florida influence and 11%, which is not very high. If you keep on going down, that's just showing all of the fish that are in that lake, all the different species.
You mentioned structure would have the GPS coordinates. Do y'all publish files that you can download of the places that have place structure, state place structure? I know
I think they do have one.
like Arkansas does.
They
and you
should
can-
have one on this website maybe
Okay.
somewhere, but I have to find it. I'm not. But if it does have a artificial structures,
Mhm.
it's going to be in this part 8.
Okay.
I don't think we put any in Coattail. That just shows you where the boat ramps are. But if you keep on going down, we got what we call type maps right here. And if you look, if you ever look at a lake after a drawdown, obviously Coattail Lake has hydrilla. If you look at a bunch of these type maps, after a drawdown, that hydrilla is going to start coming back in certain spots all the time. Like this arm here, that's the main part where the hydrilla starts. So if you go after a drawdown, you start looking at these type maps and seeing like this hydrilla is starting here, that's probably where you want to start fishing. If you're bass fishing, I don't know what kind of fishing y'all think you do.
Fish everything.
Yeah, but that's just an idea of how y'all can use this.
What did you call that map? Type map?
Yes, a type map. So if you go on back, see that blue?
Yeah.
If you look at, let's see, you can't hardly read it, but I think that's hydrilla. right?
It is. Yeah, I can see it on mine.
So that's
Okay.
showing where all the hydrilla is in that lake. So if I was gonna bass fish, I'd be hitting that arm and then the coves right there where all that hydrilla is if I was gonna go somewhere. And it also shows all the other kind of vegetation.
Let's see, where's Catch's house? Let's see.
Catch, where's your house?
Get it.
Catch's down in, he's down in there. Yeah.
Catch lives there.
Okay.
Lindsay's, on point, they, where all that blue.
Yeah, his
was.
arrow was right.
But different people have do these type maps, so they're all gonna be kind of different. They're not gonna be, unfortunately, we ain't got a standardized type map. But I think that should be it to part A.
Okay.
If you go to part B, it's gonna show you what I've been talking about, these RSDs, PSDs,
Yeah.
CPV.
So how do you get to this? How do you find this?
All right, you go on the website, Louisiana Wildlife and Fisheries, and you're gonna see a little search bar.
Right there.
Yeah, see it right there.
Plan. Lake 77 results time for lake management plan. That's what you got.
Yeah, type in lake management plans in that search bar. That's the easiest way to find
It
it.
says dark web.
It's hard to find. I don't know why they make it so hard, but I'm not a
You
computer
got
guy.
fingerprints.
Lake management.
Lake management plans. Now, if you go to Coattail Lake Part B, Part B is gonna show all of the results of our sample. So if you go on down, it's gonna be bass first.
So here's a question.
We got
You said this is your part of the state. Okay.
Coattail Lake.
So if I go to that website, or if I go to that place and say that, save that as a favorite, any place I go in the state will probably have something listed in there.
Now, I'll say that again, I'm not bothered.
Okay. So you said that Hodges Garden's not in your area. It's
Right.
on that, it's on that.
Yeah,
Plan pulls up all of them.
Yeah.
yeah, like
So it's a
spring by,
one-stop shop.
yeah, like
Okay.
spring by is not my area, but it has a manual
Okay.
plan too.
Okay, good.
Yeah, it don't matter, it's the whole state.
Alligator.
I was wondering if they count alligators.
No, we don't do alligators, that's
That's a
wildlife,
federal job.
that's wildlife does that.
You want to do that?
You know,
Pass for
Well,
all.
alligators and
Flags
fish.
gonna be on the.
Or alligators and fish have to.
But this is a CPUE that I was talking about. This is electrofishing. So you're getting a increase in population density from 98 to 2009, and it's starting to go down now. After this drawdown, I imagine it'll be low for a first year, and then it'll probably start coming way back up pretty fast. Because Coattail responds to a drawdown pretty good.
Why did they draw down Coattail so far?
For hydrilla and for them to work on their boathouses and stuff. The police jury was the main
So
person
just
that
don't-
wanted that. I guess there was a lot of people griping about not being I think it's been almost 10 years. It's been a long time since we had a drawdown.
8 years.
8 years, okay. So, and this is the same CPUE. This might be, it's gonna say fall or spring. But this is the, I'm gonna go back down. This is the same stock quality preferred, it's just it's set up differently. It's not stacked on top of each other, so,
Spring electrofishing. Yeah.
yeah. And this is the PSDs and RSDs, so PSD, you're looking like 40 to 60 is what you're wanting. So I think this is the same graphic we had up there before. And that's giving you a size distribution. Let's see. Okay, that's fall electrofishing. So you can look here and see that the main size fish that we're catching back during 2013 was 12-inch fish. So it gives you an indication of what kind of size structure we're having as far as, this is just electrofishing, so we're hoping that it dictates the actual population, but sometimes it don't always do that. Another thing I didn't mention, we do what we call creel surveys. We sit at the boat ramp and we interview fishermen. And we're going to put that in here too. We'll put that results in here. I don't know if you've ever done in a creel survey on Coattail or not since I've been here, but we do it through, we'll pick a lake and do it the whole year. So it's pretty time consuming. And this is the age class structure of 2008. So we collected, we pulled all this out of 67 fish. And so that gives you an indication of how fast your fish are growing. So that 1-year-old fish, about 10 inches.
Are those good numbers or bad numbers?
That's average. These reservoirs, these clear water reservoirs are, I mean, like if you're getting closer to the Mississippi River, you're gonna get faster growth, just like a deer or anything else. Because, I mean, they're more fertile. That soil is more fertile, so they don't have to eat as much to get as many nutrients. And that gives you, that's the same one we've had before that. And this is the forage. So that was done with seines. See, it says average number per seine haul. And that breaks down the forage into what kind of species. Lapomis is like sunfish. That Dorosoma is shad, and the other ones all other species like silver sides mainly, probably what we mainly get. And this is showing relative weight. Like I was saying, you want the higher the relative weight, the better. It's usually pretty stable in there, but 98 and 99 is kind of low. So. And this is our crappie. We used to use rotenone. This is something that we don't do anymore. Y'all know what rotenone is? We block off a net, acre net, and they put rotenone in there, which kills the fish. And then they collect everything it dies and weigh and measure everything. So it gives you an idea of the whole species composition. But they made us quit doing it because it's just a lot of dead fish. And we started throwing them out, and people didn't like seeing all those dead fish. So they made us quit. And this is the size distribution of crappie. So it just gives you an idea of what to expect when you go to a lake. Typically in these clear lakes, you're gonna get mostly black crappie. And if you got like Saline Lake is one side's clear and one side's a little muddier, you get a mixture of both. Typically in these clear water reservoirs, you're gonna get black crappie. So if you want to get black and white, you have to go to an area like probably Spring Bay or Larto Saline or something like that. We also put our most recent habitat evaluation in there. So it's pretty long, and it gives us an idea of why we've done drawdowns in the past. And usually every year we'll put what we recommend on that lake during that year. Like we recommend drawdowns.
Okay, so is there a spreadsheet out there that lists the lakes and the predominant species of fish per lake?
I don't know of one.
You probably get some tax money to do that.
I don't know about that.
Yeah.
I didn't get no extra money, but I did. We had to write off. And they didn't give us no extra money.
Tell just along you his electric stick and we'll figure it out.
But
So
just,
what do you want?
but is that a fiberglass dip, that they're doing?
Yeah, it's fiberglass.
I was just wondering.
What size, what was diameter?
I
think a generator.
It's actually a special one. It ain't a generator.
Telephone man in there.
All of up.
They say that only works on catfish, but there's AC and DC. So.
Is there a difference to use DC sometimes with ACO?
Yeah, AC it goes further out, but it don't shock them. What you'll do with AC in a river sometimes, you'll run it and you'll start seeing the catfish